All right, everybody. What's going on? It's Monday Fun Day. It's August 18th. I want to welcome everybody back in to the LTL Media channel. It is Let's Talk Live here. I hope everybody's well. And we got a lot of stuff to get into tonight. A lot of catching up for Nan and Todd to catch up. And this is the three amigos here on this Monday night. I'm looking forward to going through this because, you know, I've been really stuck on this Sean Long Island audit story. It really has captivated me. The whole Brian Fahey spitting on a journalist incident. And as you know, I was out there a couple weeks ago at Sean's court hearing supporting him. And I'm actually preparing to go out to the next Groton, Connecticut town meeting and speaking. I got my spot there. So I want to speak. I want to speak to the mayor, let her know how I feel about the situation, because she talked about in the last town council meeting about spit on the chair, which was very odd because she had to talk about it about 41 minutes into the town council meeting. Why would she not say it immediately at the town council meeting? So we're going to get into all that tonight. And let's do this. Let's just bring in my guest. As always, on Monday evening, we have Nan Gallagher. We're going to bring her in on the stage. Nan, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And we have Todd McGhee.
Hey, Brian.
It is back together here. Let's shift around the screen. Lots to get into this evening. I know I sent out the IA report to both of you. Looking over Brian Fahey's IA report, anything that you think is significant, things that we should get into. Todd, I'm going to go to you first because I'm sure you've read through a lot of these internal affairs reports.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Some things stood out. The timing of things. We were talking offline before the show, and the IA report makes reference to trespassing signs being present, makes reference to the video had been edited. And, you know, those are the things I'm really hoping to unpack tonight for your audience. And again, like we always do on all of these cases and stories, let's just level set, right? What's the truth? Let's put it out there, whatever it is, let's go through it. And again, in the spirit of transparency, let's have a good show.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you brought that up because that's one of the main things on my agenda tonight. That's something that I want to go through and show proof and evidence to this. And, you know, I just did this with the spitting incident. The great thing about it was we had Sean Long Island audit there at the last town council meeting. That was on the 3rd of August. We had Leroy Truth Investigates there, and we also had Vincent from Garden State Accountability. And what they did was they shot a lot of video previous to that town council meeting and then just after. So I wanted to line up all this video and go through it and say, okay, where is this spit that was supposedly on Councilwoman Rust's chair when they came in? And we delve completely into that, and there was no evidence of that. So then what I did, of course, I FOIA'd. I said, let's see the camera footage. I want it from 4 p.m. all the way up to 10 p.m. And that will cut the entire time because the meeting started at, I think, 6 o'clock that day. So let's see 2 hours before and a couple hours after, and let's look at it. And I haven't gotten any video evidence yet. I haven't seen a report that someone has been arrested or a report out of Groton, the town of Groton, that they have found the suspect in the photo of this person that supposedly spit on the chair. There's no evidence that holds water there, in my opinion. Nan, what did you think about the IA report? Anything that stuck out?
Well, thank you for asking. And Todd kind of stole my thunder because when I was reading it this afternoon, I was like, interesting. There's no trespassing signs, and there are apparent edits to the video.
Yeah.
And the lack of no trespassing signs was at least maintained by Sean. So if there was indeed editing to remove any clear indicator that there was a no trespassing sign, doesn't really look pristine to someone like me. Like, if you're going to tell the story, you tell the story. And that's why I love your reporting, because you just want to tell the story the way it is. And I believe, and I think Todd agrees, that in the way we saw this unfold by video, it sure looks like Trooper or former Trooper
Former.
Fahey,
Yeah, now
former
former. Coptuah.
Yeah.
You can say Coptuah if you want.
Coptuah. Like, it just seems like he was using an excessive amount of force and that the actions he took were unjustified, and that to me, and I'm glitching already, guys, so it's
Got the glitch going.
tonight. To
That
me,
Monday night glitch.
we should rename this from the Three Amigos to the Monday Night Glitch.
Yeah, the Monday night glitch. That's pretty good. I like that, Nan.
To me, it just seems like the way Sean was retreating with his cameraman from the front door of former Trooper Fahey, he was doing everything right and reasonable under the circumstances. So in reading the report, it seems to me that there may be some questions as to all that transpired that day. And that's why there needs to be continued reporting on issues like this, so people in the community can make a reasoned opinion as to what facts really transpired. And, we'll see what happens. But it's a very interesting report. And if anyone is interested, I highlighted it again. So,
all right. I love it. I love it. All right. Before we get into that, I want to share a local story here of a missing young woman. Her name is Kaylee Montero. Let me just bring this up really quick. Add this to the stage. So Kaylee has been missing for a couple weeks now, and I'm going to read this here. It says, Kaylee Montero update: a GoFundMe has launched for a pregnant Massachusetts teen who has said, I don't feel safe before vanishing. Kaylee Montero went missing in Rehoboth, Massachusetts after, quote, domestic issues with her boyfriend, and after telling a friend, quote, something's not right. A search is underway in Rehoboth, Massachusetts for a missing pregnant teenager. GoFundMe has been launched to help in search for efforts to locate 18-year-old Kaylee Montero. Montero has been last seen in earlier August in the vicinity of County Street in Rehoboth, Massachusetts. WCVV reported her family said that she is 11 weeks pregnant and argued with her boyfriend just before her disappearance. A GoFundMe that has been set up states that the donations will be used to spread awareness about Kaylee's disappearance. Once she's located, the remaining donations will either go directly to Kaylee to help her financially while she deals with this unimaginable trauma, or for her, and I hate to say this, for her funeral arrangements if needed. We're also working to offering reward to whomever finds her. If anyone feels guided to donate or so into this cause, that would help would be tremendously. Tremendously. A Facebook user who appeared to be a relative of Montero said that in a post, some domestic issues happened before her disappearance. She's a quote, she has not been heard from since Wednesday, August 6, 2025. Kaylee Montero wrote on Facebook, her name is Kaylee Montero. She has been last seen in Rehoboth at her boyfriend's house. There were some domestic issues involved. She is pregnant and highly unlike her to cut all contact from social media and her family. We need to get the word out of this information as soon as possible. So please push it out. Again, in anyone that had seen or might have similar characteristics, please say something. Thank you. I want to let everybody know that I have been speaking with Kaylee's sister, Faith, via text message. Obviously they're going through a very traumatic time right now, but I want to make everybody aware, if you can, and you'd like to join them, they are holding a vigil on Saturday, this Saturday at 7 p.m. at 401 Winthrop Street in Rehoboth, Massachusetts. I'm going to try to get out there and do my best to get out there and support and get down there and meet the family. Todd, I know that we talked in the green room just before the show. You said you just did a follow-up story on this, correct?
Yeah, I covered the story with NBC 10 out of Rhode Island, and they're covering the Rehoboth story with this young lady. And I again hoping for the best. Hope that she turns up. What's concerning is that this young lady has meager means, and really to fall off the radar like this is highly suspicious. And just hoping for the best that her and her unborn baby will be in good health at some point.
I would think that her boyfriend's being questioned, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Close associates, relationships, those are first order of business.
Yeah. Yeah. EB was asking in the chat, is her boyfriend being questioned?
Yeah.
I would assume, yeah. If that's definitely the last person that she's been identified around, I think that person must have a lot to answer for. Nan, anything you want to fill in here or comment?
I would just like to comment on the fact that I think true crime cases like this are so interesting now at this moment in time because of the value of social media and articles that come out and the ability to talk about these important cases while they're still pending on YouTube and other platforms, because many times armchair sleuths can offer suggestions, theories, and the like. And sometimes that's not helpful to law enforcement. But even in the case of Gabby Petito, that actually was a tremendous resource. They were able to track down where her body was found because of people who were following the case on social media. So I like what you're doing here, Brian, bringing attention to her case and even taking questions from your chat on this very, very sad case. And I'm interested to follow it with you. So I just send prayers to her family, and hopefully the police do a good job and investigate all of the leads, even if the guilty get guiltier and the innocent get more innocent in that process. See, I learned something from Todd.
Yeah, it's a very sad situation. You know, she's a young lady, she's 18, reported 11 weeks pregnant, and you don't want to see anything like this. So, you know, we wish the best for Kylie here on LTL Media. Like I said, I have to work on Saturday, but I might get enough time to be able to leave work and go down there and at least meet with the family and support, meet her sister. So I'm going to try to make that happen. Because this is an important story. I don't want it to be a blip on the radar. And often when these stories are, and if Faith is calling out and saying, like, look, we really need to keep this alive. You know, they need all the attention they can on this case. So, you know, we can continue to do that here and keep people aware of this. You know, we'll definitely help out as much as we can.
If I can help in any way, please let me know. But now that I've heard about this case, I'm very interested in following it with you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's get into Brian Fahey's internal affairs investigation report. We're going to get into that, and then I want to catch you both up at the speed at some shenanigans that have happened at the recent Groton town meeting in Groton, Connecticut, regarding the mayor, which has been very interesting to watch, and her actions and how she's been treating the people that are in the town and people that are on the council. So it's been very, very interesting. Let's do this first. I want to bring up this report from Colonel Daniel Loffman, his statement on Brian Fahey, and then we'll get into the internal affairs investigation report. Let me just share my screen here. Bear with me, guys. Okay, perfect. Here we are. I'm going to do my best to read this for you all. So Colonel Loffman released a statement just before or just as Brian Fahey's internal investigation report was, and I'll do my best here. On Friday, July 11, 2025, Connecticut State Police Sergeant, and he was still employed at this time, Brian Fahey was confronted while off duty outside his home by a self-described digital content creator. An internal affairs investigation was immediately initiated by the Connecticut State Police to review the actions of Sergeant Fahey. The internal affairs investigation was completed on Thursday, July 24th, 2025, and it sustained a charge of conduct unbecoming against Sergeant Fahey. Todd, can you explain what conduct unbecoming is?
Well, pretty much the video really described a individual who was unhinged, inappropriate interaction with a member of the community. I shared with Brian and in a previous conversation that because there's history with these two, someone must have said to Sergeant Fahey, just avoid this guy. If he shows up anywhere, just avoid him. And if you got to call the locals to get him off your property, but don't engage, I guess is where I'm going. But, you know, the video evidence, as we mentioned before, fortunately documented what we believe to be is the entire encounter. And I know there's some caveats that we'll touch on tonight, so I don't want to get ahead of you, Brian, but you know, that conduct unbecoming, you know, and here's kind of the issues with law enforcement. Obviously, when you're on duty and working, you're accountable for your actions and how you interact with the general public, how you conduct yourself as a police officer. However, in the life of a police officer, your off-duty behavior can also get you in the jackpot, as I like to say.
Mhm.
Not many professions is that an issue where your off-duty conduct will spill over into real life and have some type of disciplinary action. Police officers, you've got to act accordingly and not get yourself in a position where you're going to compromise your future employment.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nan.
No, I was going to say, on the spectrum of reasons to be discharged from duty, I would imagine that conduct unbecoming is probably one of the ones that stings the most, because it's not like, well, I committed misconduct and I did this wrong or that wrong. A conduct unbecoming allegation, and I'm speaking very generally when I say this, to me means you weren't acting like a sworn officer when you did what you did. And that hits someone in the gut a little bit. So I'm happy to hear that this was one of the reasons why he was discharged. And I could think of many other reasons why he should have been.
Yeah, Brian, with that aspect of conduct unbecoming, it also reflects you're not just representing yourself, you're representing your agency. Right. So that's right in policies and procedures about your behavior. And if you bring some type of poor reflection on the department, that's another bang. That's another layer to potential disciplinary action against yourself.
Yeah. And that was also one of the bases listed for Michael Proctor as well, that his conduct held the Massachusetts State Police in disrepute.
Yes.
So it's that one's actions have a broader impact on the agency itself. And I dare say that the agency, any agency, you could fill in the blank, if it's taking an action against one of its members for reasons of conduct unbecoming, it's doing so to also send not just a message to the public, but to other members of the agency, so they understand they have to adhere to certain standards and that their actions can have wide-ranging consequences that can just reflect poorly on the agency. So this is, as I see it, a warning to troopers in Connecticut to do their jobs well and with honor, whether they're on duty or off.
Yeah, I mean, I like how can I say this? And I want to bring this back to Proctor. Can I say I like the quick response from the Connecticut State Troopers? Yes. Do I think that they kind of covered for this behavior and allowed Fahey to kind of go away and get his pension? Yes. I think he should have been fired instead of retired. And, you go back to and you look at, Proctor. Why did discipline, and we're still ongoing with him, this discipline with him, it's just different. It's just two different worlds is what I'm saying. It was just very much quicker, and probably because Fahey was so close to retirement or just into that retirement stint that it was probably easier, like, hey, why don't you just retire? We'll let this go all away, which I think is a bullshit cop-out. He should have been fired. But this whole thing with Proctor is just taking forever and ever and ever. And this guy's like literally fighting for his job back now, which he should never, ever be able. But we know why the swift action was not in Proctor, because if they took swift action before Karen Reed's trial, this would have caused a huge conundrum for the Commonwealth's theory in their case. Maybe that's, all right, well, let's just sneak this by and get it into trial. And, we're going to hear about the text messages, but maybe it doesn't sway the jury that much. We can play the emotional angle on this. I want you to get up on the stand and play, hey, I was emotional when I sent those text messages.
It was regrettable. It was
regrettable. Right.
But yes, and also one of the differences, which is very notable between Fahey and Proctor, is, as you mentioned, I think age and proximity to retirement is a factor, but also the Karen Reed trial and then mistrial and trial 2.0. That probably played a part in prolonging and protracting the disciplinary process.
Yeah.
Right. You also had the circumstance where Proctor was the lead investigator acting in that particular case, and this was an off-duty incident for Fahey.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a number of nuances where they could kind of take their own tracks, even though they both landed in an internal affairs investigation. But there's enough differences where they kind of take on a life of their own.
Yep.
Yeah, it would have crushed the Commonwealth's non-case if all that would have came out. And look at Karen's, result in all of this. So,
Yeah.
we know what it was, and we know what was going on. All right, let me pull this report back up. We'll keep reading through it really quick, and then we'll get to the internal affairs report. So let's see. An internal affairs investigation report was released today in accordance with the FOIA laws. And I encouraged our trusted media partners to review this report. Unlike the edited videos and inaccurate accounts that are being circulated online of this incident, I believe that the Connecticut State Police Internal Affairs report outlines a complete, accurate, and fair representation of the incident, as well as the information in detail leading up to the confrontation on Friday, July 11th. It is my understanding that the separate and apart from the Connecticut State Police Internal Affairs investigation on July 11th, an incident remains under investigation by the town of Groton, which is very strange because in the IA report, isn't this kind of weird? They black out Groton. And in this release statement from Daniel Loftman, he's saying that there's an active investigation in Groton. I don't know. Police Department and the Wyndham State's Attorney's Office, the Connecticut State Police will have to continue to cooperate fully with that investigation. I appreciate the continued trust the people of Connecticut provided and encourage our Connecticut residents to read the report. We believe transparency is the cornerstone of public trust. All above, please know that the Connecticut State Police will always strive to earn and keep your confidence. I'll go to both of you. How do you feel about this statement? We'll start with Nan first.
This is a Todd question. Very rarely will I say, Todd's got the street cred on this. I could just be an opinionated lawyer.
What do you think, Todd? Can statement?
You nailed it. Yes. You got it. You got to kind of get out all of the, I don't even know how to describe it. All of the niceties, if you will, and the formalities. Got to get out all the formalities before you get into the meat and potatoes of the investigation and the circumstances. So, just moving past the language and get into the real substance.
All right. Let's go through some of this IA report. I'm not going to read the whole thing. We'll get into some of the most important. I think the most controversial thing we'll get into here. Let me just bring this up here. Okay. Let me back up. And
just a note for you, Brian, while you're looking through that, this again, it does not look like you received. Did you get this from a FOIA request or did you get this online? But either way,
no, this was FOIA. They sent it to me.
Yeah, the exhibits again not provided.
Not provided. Yeah, it's interesting.
Not convenient.
They don't want that. They don't want the little pieces of what people want in these reports. It's interesting.
And there's no privilege that covers that. So there's no reason why those should not be disclosed.
So we know the incident, okay, July 11th. Someone's dog's barking.
That's actually not my dog this time.
Guilty.
So we know. Go ahead, Todd.
No, I just said guilty.
All right. So we know the incident that happened on July 11th. I'm not going to read through that. We've all seen it. I just think it's interesting that they are blacking out. I mean, it's Groton, Connecticut. We know that. Let's see. And this was a statement. Given the potential questions raised regarding the possible use of force and professional demeanor in an internal affairs review, this needed to gather all relevant information. So on Tuesday, July 14th, Office of Professional Standards, Internal Affairs access the Long Island Audit YouTube channel, download an MP4 file of the video posted on July 13, 2025. The video was uploaded following the incident involving off-duty, Sergeant Brian Fahey at his residence. Since the publication, the video has garnered over 600,000 views and more than 25,000 comments. The video was downloaded to ensure evidentially preservation in the event of its removal from the platform. Why would he remove it? I mean, just keep it out there, of course. The total runtime of the video is 33 minutes, 18 seconds, includes apparent edits and transitions between scenes. Okay, well, let's talk about that after. So the video as follows. So they're going to outline the video here, what was said, what was done. You've all seen the video. I don't need to go through this. And if you haven't, you can find it on Sean Long Island Audit's channel. And subscribe to him, by the way. Let's see. I want to get into the video. Okay, right here. The video then, all right, let's see here. Mr. Reyes states that he came here to Sergeant Fahey's neighborhood to protest his tyranny and corruption, the lack of accountability, but also, as a good independent journalist would, ask questions about this overtime allegation. Okay, the video then transitions to footage of Mr. Reyes walking down Sergeant Fahey's driveway. The driveway appears to be at a considerable length, such as the resident is not visible from the public roadway or from the initial portion of the driveway as depicted in the video. Mr. Reyes and his cameraman are then observed walking across Sergeant Fahey's front lawn towards the main residence, where Mr. Reyes proceeds to knock on the door. Off-duty Sergeant Fahey answers the door. You have to get off my property. It's posted, no trespassing. I want everybody to keep note of this, the no trespassing. He then reiterates his directive for Mr. Reyes to vacate his premises before placing the phone to his ear and re-entering the residence. As Mr. Reyes begins walking back to the front yard towards the driveway, Sergeant Fahey is seen exiting his residence, holding a handgun on his right hand in a low, ready position, while simultaneously holding a cell phone in his left ear, actively engaging in the call. Obviously, they're going to have a conversation. He's going to keep going on about, I'm a state trooper. You need to get off my property. I want to get into that portion where it says that at times. Oh, here it is. Here it is right here. Before we do this, Todd, you're a retired state trooper. You have a journalist that shows up at your house. How would you have handled this situation?
I would say, well, I'm trying to think. Have I conducted anything illegal or any type of?
Not you.
I think the first thing I would do, you have a conversation with the individual. If I don't want to have a conversation with them, I'm going to tell them to get off my property. If I call the locals, that's going to be the end of my engagement with anyone in my front. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm now going to be challenged as to what my conduct is. I'm just not going to put my family through that type of a scenario. I'm not going to put myself through that scenario, and I'm going to disengage. That's the most prudent and most wise decision that can be made, especially if you find yourself starting to rise and get heated. You have to self-discipline yourself to not disengage. So that's regardless if I'm dirty and guilty of something, or if I'm just wisest person here in my front lawn and I don't want to have a conversation with them. I'm just not going to engage.
Yeah, I mean, probably the best thing to do is, like you said, have a conversation. Hey, look, you need to get off my property. I'm going to call the, as you call the locals. I would have thought, because in this report, I mean, Fahey portrays Sean as someone that's very scary. He felt threatened. If you feel that, wouldn't the best thing to do is to just go back inside your residence and then maybe arm yourself inside your residence? You have every right to do that. Arm yourself inside your residence while you're on the phone with 911. And why wouldn't you just be looking out your window and saying and relaying that information back to the police? I mean, we can put this relevant timeline in that I would say the police were there in under 3 to 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure they knew who Sergeant Brian Fahey of the Connecticut State Troop, well, former now, but who Brian Fahey was at that time. We're getting a call from this residence. This is the name. I mean, instantly, what do we have? 3 to 5 cruisers that showed up of locals, and we're pretty much on that right away. So
Right.
I
It seemed,
think, and relay that information. Look, they're on my front lawn. They're with another person that appears to be holding a camera. Right. You know what I'm getting at, right, Todd?
yeah, I do. And if we were to go back and watch the video, it appeared that Fahey's language was trying to create a narrative, his own narrative. He knew that his phone call to dispatch was being recorded. It just, that. And regardless of what the video recording was capturing, he was what sounded like stringing words together that were creating his own narrative.
Yeah, I agree. Nan, anything?
My takeaway from this report, and I'm sure you're going to get to it, is that by the time Fahey is interviewed as part of this process by Internal Affairs, he's clearly been prepared by an attorney. So his story now becomes, and we'll get to it, but it becomes more quasi-believable. He felt that he was in jeopardy. He felt that he was being harassed. He was worried about his family, trying to justify the conduct or the use of force. Had he not been ultimately discharged or retired, whatever his status is, and I'd be lying if I specifically knew precisely what they did with him. But at a minimum, based on his conduct, he should have undergone training, perhaps anger management, those types of modalities that would have tempered, pardon the pun, the tremendous overreaction, in my opinion, that he had to that given set of circumstances. So, I don't really try to get into the weeds of specifically what ended up happening to Fahey, but by the time we start looking at this report, I'm saying to myself, he's trying to create this narrative of an explanation on his behalf to try to defend what he did. And I see it as indefensible. I just don't see this as the type of conduct that would rise to the level that it did. And I know, living the mom life, there is we're going to talk about the signage because that's such an important issue.
I've got it. I mean, we're gonna show it. And they in living is saying there was no sign up on that day, meaning the no trespass. We're gonna get to that. I mean, this is really the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to get into here, because I think this is gonna make a big part of the legal case as well too. So going on, it says the Groton Police Department verified that a no trespassing sign was visible and posted on the grass along Fahey's driveway. In the video posted by Sean Paul Reyes, he initially emphasized the importance of being observant for no trespassing signs when approaching the private property. However, during the initial approach to Fahey's residence, there's a noticeable video edit occurs between timestamp 2:26 and 27, which skips over the portion of the driveway where the sign is located. A second edit is observed between 5:12 and 5:15 during Reyes' retreat from the property, similarly admitting that the area where the sign would have been is clearly visible to the viewers. Based on the edited footage, it took approximately 2 minutes and 30 seconds for Mr. Reyes to vacate Sergeant Fahey's property after being directed to do so. Upon comprehensive review, the video contains multiple additional edits, which may materially affect the continuity, context, and evidential reliability of the recorded encounter. At the conclusion of the video, Sean Paul Reyes states that both he and the cameraman, Tahim Glover, were observed by the Groton Police Department and were formally charged with criminal trespass in the first degree, breach of peace in the second degree, and voyeurism with malice. All right. Well, let's do this.
May I comment for one moment, Brian? The report, and do whatever it is you're planning. The report itself makes it clear before the part you were reading that the investigating officers, or those as part of internal affairs, they procured the video from YouTube and downloaded it in the form of an MP4. What they could have done, should have done, and may very well have done is actually request the raw footage from the day. So I don't love the implication in this report that Sean and or his cameraman were somehow editing video to hide the ball, so to speak, and that they were somehow trying to hide the fact that there was signage that would have justified trooper or former trooper Fahey from kicking them off of his property. So it just sounds to me like this is an issue that I would think, if he hasn't already, Sean Paul Reyes will speak out about that, because it makes it sound like he's gaming here.
He did, and he did a video about this, and I didn't want to like hijack the whole video from him. I wanted to bring my own presentation to this, but he does explain that and go through it, and I think that would be part of the evidentiary process. To me, it doesn't seem like it would be in his best interest to lie and edit and deceive, where there's a potential of something like this happening, and he may have to show this in a lawsuit. I think he's pretty smart on this stuff and pretty keen to the laws and what goes on in these particular situations. He's done it for quite a while. I think he's very good. He studies the law of First Amendment auditing. He's moving along in his journalistic career. So I think integrity there too. And like Nan said, I'm sure he's going to hand over the raw footage if asked or whatever it is part of the report. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that. And I think that there's a distinction between a private road sign versus a no trespassing sign that may be relevant and may be a point that has been missed by the internal affairs investigation, because it's significant to me. There's a difference.
Well, let's look at this. So this is cut at the 2:26 timestamp, and I'll play the video here in a second. And I want everybody to take note here, the circle and the square. And I probably could have done it fun and did different colors here, but let's zoom in, okay? And I want everybody to see what is actually posted. So I want you to take note of the square, and I'm going to show you a video that is a couple of days later where Leroy Truth Investigates, Full Court Press, and my dude over at Garden State Accountability, Vincent, they went out and actually wanted to see what kind of signs are out there. So this sign here in the circle is a private road sign. And below it, if I remember, it says dead end, no turnaround. So it says private road. It doesn't say no trespassing. It doesn't say anything like that. But what you're going to see, and we're going to replace it here in a second, is let me go to my next slide. This is when Garden State Accountability went out there with Leroy Truth and Full Court Press.
Oh,
and we can now see.
Oh,
there's a private property sign there that is there. We now see a private road sign was the one that I said, and let's just zoom this in a little bit more. Nan's liking this.
I am, and I'm blind as a bat, so
dead end,
we're getting close.
No turnaround. And now what do we see? We now see a no trespassing sign.
So do you know what the sign up top, the top circle said underneath the writing there? Do you know what that says under private
property? I don't.
Okay, I'm just wondering if it says no trespassing.
But it was not. It looks like it, but it was not there in the initial. It's not there, Nan, and that's look.
That wasn't what was in the square.
Here's the tree. Yes, there's nothing there. Look.
Oh.
It's not there. It's now posted, but it is not there.
Thank you.
How many days after, Brian?
I'm sorry?
When did the second team go out?
Just a couple days later. I'm sure Leroy's in the chat. I saw him earlier. Leroy, if you can verify when you guys went out there, if you're still in the chat, give us a date, because it was just, I think, a couple of days later, because they said, let's go out. That was the big sticking point of this. Let's go out and see if there was a no trespassing sign. And they went, well, there's a whole bunch of them there. Now they weren't there before.
So there's a concept, just so everyone's aware, in
Friday before the last. I'm sorry, Nan, to cut over. Leroy says it was the Friday before the last.
Oh, thank you, Leroy. There's so everyone's aware, and this may benefit Sean in the future. if he's bringing an action, a civil action, there's a concept in law called subsequent remedial measures. And it essentially means if the person who is arguably at fault makes a change to something, whether it's they cleaned up a crime
Interesting,
scene.
isn't it?
Yeah, they've cleaned up the property, they've put signage up, they've done something afterwards, subsequently, to make it appear that it was a better environment and there were no trespassing signs. That comes into evidence as not truth or proof that what has changed means that the person was up to no good, but it comes into evidence to show, okay, now there are signs up that were not there previously. It's a concept that allows a jury to consider for themselves and to draw their own conclusion as to, well, what does the changing of signs such a short period of later mean? So that will come into a subsequent civil trial, and it would benefit Sean and his cameraman if they do bring that action.
Yeah. Always saying Sean should sue the police department for defamation, for trying to make it look like he edited his video and lies to us. Let's play that video. I'm going to cue it up here. We'll take a quick look at it. It's kind of hard because it is a quick second jump.
While you're pulling that up, Brian, Nan, your description is almost editing the environment.
Yes. Yeah, you edit the environment, and that is 100% relevant to what Sean's mindset was. And Sean, if you recall, he reached his mindset as to whether or not there were no trespassing signs and whether or not he felt he was legally permitted to approach the premises that day. He was saying it to Fahey and the police that very day. So this didn't just conjure itself up afterwards. He didn't see these new signs because they apparently weren't there. It looks really bad for Fahey, and this may be why ultimately he's no longer serving in his capacity.
Is this going to be a big sticking point in the suit, Nan? Is this going to be like the real, the initial, because
maybe
I understand the spitting and all that. I get all that. But like this now, because they're stating in a report that it says no trespassing, and it clearly doesn't say that. I mean, is this a big sticking point for Sean in his case?
It will be a sticking point, that and the edits. The concealment. If they indeed were there, if the signs were there, and if there were convenient edits made to the video during the relevant time period that would have shown said signs, that will be an important consideration for a jury to consider. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like the certain signs were not there, so it should be provable and will benefit Sean and his cameraman, but that will be a big sticking point.
Yeah, I agree. Anything you want to add there, Todd? Or
We got it.
Okay, let me just do this. We'll quickly stop for my sponsor, the Star Drive-In. Take about a minute and 20 seconds for a quick break here. Here we go. Need a break from modern life? We'll travel back in time to the Star Drive-In. That's East Taunton's iconic retro hotspot. Fun for the whole family. Enjoy great food, entertainment, and timeless memories. They got free community events all season long, including movies under the stars, live music and tailgating, Jeep meets, classic car shows, and bike nights. While you're there, indulge in over 100 flavors of soft serve, 80 flavors of Bliss and Gifford's hard ice cream, plus a rotating selection of 10 flavors of Dole Whip. The Star Drive-In is not your average fast food place. Everything is made fresh to order using quality ingredients. Fresh seafood is delivered daily, and pizza dough made twice a day for maximum freshness. I love their pizza. The Star Drive-In, where food, fun, and family memories never go out of style. They're conveniently located at 205 Myrick Street in East Taunton. That's exit 16 off Route 140. Make sure to visit their website or follow them on Facebook for their latest menus and upcoming events. And hey, while you're there, say hi to Erica and her team. And if you mention LTL at the register, you'll receive 10% off your entire purchase. That's the Star Drive-In in East Taunton. It's the most iconic retro hotspot. Yes, the Star Drive-In over in East Taunton. I love Erica and her team. I got to get back over there pretty soon. And if you're in line behind me, I will treat you to a meal. And if you do check out the Star Drive-In, just make sure to say LTL at the window so you can receive 10% off. Look at this. We have some more information here. And I love when Leroy can join these chats. And if you haven't, make sure to subscribe to Leroy Truth Investigates. He's kind of Sean's impromptu cameraman. He's done a lot of stuff with Sean lately. And Leroy's a great guy. We talk probably like once a week now. And it's been having some great conversations. And I'm going to be joining them in 2 weeks at the Groton town council meeting and speeding, not speeding in Connecticut.
Don't speed there.
No, God. Speaking to the tyrant mayor of Groton, Connecticut, Rachel Franco. I'll be speaking and asking her where is the footage of the spitting incident. But we're going to get into that. But Leroy says Sean showed the entire unaided video on his live recently, and the signs were not there. So there you go.
And I don't know exactly the duration between when the report. So this report, actually don't know the date of it, but I find it interesting, Leroy, that they didn't pull that video, the unedited raw video that Sean appears to have aired. It's all about a search for the truth. I'm sure you would agree with that, Todd.
100%.
All right, let's go over and we'll just check out that little video that's supposed to be unedited.
Danger to the community. That's why they have him working in the office. But to get $75,000 in overtime every single year from a desk job, it didn't add up. And that's why I came here to Sergeant Brian Fahey's neighborhood to protest.
By the way, I just got to say this. I love the LED truck. It's hilarious.
I love it too.
I think it's cool.
Well, he's unabashed. He is not afraid to stand up for what he believes in and for the public's benefit. I like that.
Yeah, it's really good. Here we go.
Corruption, the lack of accountability.
Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, the overtime issue. There is, and I can speak for my own for my former department, Mass State Police. You are not limited to taking overtime at your assignment. You can work other places within the state as long as it's a sanctioned detail by your detail office, by the job recognizes it. You're not off working a bar job somewhere and being compensated outside of the agency. That would require a permission for outside employment is what Mass State Police calls it. So just that number is what it is. It's 75,000, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was derived strictly from his day desk job.
I'm wondering, as you're saying this, Todd, if it's worth Brian submitting a subsequent FOIA request asking for the exhibits that he was not provided, and also any of those, I forget the nomenclature that you used for, any request to work kind of outside of his detail that would have justified the payment of any overtime. What did you call that? Permission for outside employment, but essentially payroll records would determine where that extra income besides base pay, base salary would come from. Interesting.
Simple income, simple detail records.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that you look at his track record of overtime and it's like, 5,000, 6,000. Then all of a sudden it dramatically jumps in 2018 and goes from like 8,000 to $75,000 in overtime.
Oh, yeah, it's like disparage.
What the hell is going on there?
I also read an article recently, and I apologize, I don't have the citation right now, but I can get it for you. But there are statistics that show officers who are approaching retirement, there's a correlation between the amount of overtime that they
overtime. Yeah.
Right. Which makes sense, I suppose. But yeah.
NYPD, Dan, is specifically what you just described. Their pension is based on their last, I believe, 3 years of their highest.
Exactly.
You're working night and day. If you're awake, you're in uniform working.
Yeah, this is a larger message that needs to be explored if that is a flawed formula.
Yeah, I agree. It's very interesting. It's an interesting study.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Also, as any good
So your edit, the edit is coming quick. It's coming up in 226, and then it's going to that 227 jump, which is so ironic because we talked about 227 so long here on the channel for almost 2 years with the Karen Reed case. It's funny.
independent journalist would, to ask questions about this overtime allegation. So as always,
That's the jump that they're concerned about. But clearly you can see, and as just brought up previous to this, like 10 minutes ago, you can see that that sign is there. It only is a private driveway sign. There's none of those signs that that say no trespassing. And we saw them, you know, like Leroy Truth was saying, you know, just a couple of weeks later. And I think I have the video of when they went there. Yeah, let's pull this up really quick. So this is just not even a couple of weeks later. It was that following Friday, he said. So you can see them there.
And
so from my understanding, it says private road, dead end turnaround, but there's multiple houses on this property.
Right.
So it's a shared road. So, all right, so they have the no trespassing signs, but formerly, before they had those, you can go down that road where it bifurcates, go to the left on the house to the left.
Right.
And his property doesn't end and begin, I would assume, and I may be wrong, to where that bifurcation is.
Yes.
Right.
Well, how much money is this costing the taxpayers?
Oh, it's costing so much money to the taxpayers. Now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I want to not knock on Sergeant Fahey's door. I want to make very clear I'm not going to Sergeant Fahey's house to knock on his door. Though, again, I have a legal right to do that as a journalist, as a Boy Scout, as a Jehovah's Witness, as a human being. What about, what does Sergeant Fahey do on trick or treat? Does he pull his gun out with all the kids and brandish his gun and spit on all the little children's faces on Halloween?
You want candy?
Right, Coptuah. Yeah, take that with your M&Ms and your apple.
He's right.
Officer, we come here in peace. We come here in peace. We are peaceful journalists exercising our First Amendment right. And why do you have tinted windows and we can't? Doesn't make sense. He's calling someone now. Can you roll your window down? I want to go visit the neighbor. I see the garbage can right down there, but I want to be able to go there without getting tased or shot or arrested.
And this is Leroy Truth, Garden State Accountability, and Faux Court Press. I just want everybody to subscribe to them because they're down in that area. They can provide this content, and they've been very open and honest that I can use this content. They're really great people, and I talk to like I said, Leroy and Vincent pretty regularly now, and I'll be joining them in about 2 weeks. So as you can see, the signs are there now, but they weren't there the week prior. It's just it's a very interesting.
It's a bad luck.
Right there. It's a
very bad luck.
All right, let's go back to the IA report. Let's see. I want to get to the interview was recorded. This is very interesting too. Would I be able to get this with a FOIA request? The recordings were utilized the digital application voice memos recorder. The recording was subsequently uploaded to Professional Standards Drive folder and labeled IA 25042 Sergeant Fahey's interview and transferred to a USB thumb drive. The interview began at 11:07 hours. Could I get that? Would they release it? Should they release it?
The answer is yes, and I highlighted the same section when I was reading this. That should be released. I mean, we all should be rejoicing that there was actually a subject interview that was recorded after we just came off of Karen Reed, where
unlike things that didn't happen in Karen's case.
Right. And they're just using their voice memo function of their smartphone. But yes, that is a very robust area to be investigated to further with a FOIA request, a subsequent FOIA request. You're entitled to hear what they were told.
Yeah, we're going to do it. Isn't it funny that former Trooper Michael Proctor could find to go through someone's phone and look for nudes, but he couldn't find the voice recorder when he should have been out recording interviews and taking voice interviews during the Karen Reed case. It's just funny how that works, huh?
If you're thinking about this for future FOIA requests on any case, everyone should think about the fact that what you're seeing in this report that Brian is going over is an officer's or an agent's version of his or her conclusions. It's a summary in and of itself. And if you were to have heard the voice memo recording of the interview of former Trooper Fahey, you may find other relevant areas that perhaps did not make their way to this report, but are equally as important or relevant. Maybe there was a side discussion. Maybe there was a chuckle between the officers where one of them said, hey, you might want to put signs up now so this doesn't happen again. Who knows? But you would want to hear the full story before reaching your own conclusions if you are an interested citizen.
Yeah. No, I agree. Okay. So we go through this. Let's see. Again, talking more about the YouTube. And this is out there public. If anybody wanted to Google this, you can find the IA report. There's the number there, or if you want to forward it yourself. I don't want to go through the entire thing. I know that we've discussed this. So let's see. This is very interesting. And I just want to make sure that people understand this. And I'm going to make this statement. I don't condone anybody harassing anybody of people that I can probably speak for the both professional individuals on this panel as well too. We do not here at LTL Media condone harassing anybody, but I will say this: if you act in a journalistic capacity, and this, I'm speaking for myself, you have every single right to go out and find a story and ask questions. But I do not condone anybody writing a harassing email or threatening or saying disparaging things towards anybody, their family, towards their property, whatever it may be. But if you are a journalist, you have every right to go out and research and ask those tough questions.
Thank you for saying that. I know Todd and I agree with that. But also, it's good to ask tough questions. And you'll see in this report, former Trooper Fahey does reference the fact that I'm not saying it's a fact. He references that his family has experienced harassment. I'm not saying that has happened. And we've seen recently perhaps circumstances where that has been embellished in other cases.
Of course.
But yeah, I would not condone harassing anyone or breaking any laws. It's okay to ask questions legally.
Right. So it goes on to say that Fahey believes that Sean Paul Reyes' followers have made threats indicating their intent to come to his residence. Further explained that in his addition to those threats in his home, he's posted online along with other names of his children, his sister, his father. Sergeant Fahey reported that his family, including his father and children, have received threats and violence, including death threats from these individuals. He goes on to talk about harassing emails that he's got, Facebook messages, postal service mail, including observations of hundreds of thousands of YouTube comments and videos referencing him. While not all of those messages contain explicit threats, a number include depicting implied threats to his life. He also stated that as a result of the ongoing harassment, he is recently compelled to change his personal cell phone number. His further reported the individual had begun sending unsolicited letters to his neighbor containing references to him, such as caused additional concern and disruption. Fahey reiterated that the harassment has experienced his resistant, unrelenting, and ongoing of nature. I'm not going to read any of these really gross messages. Go ahead, Todd.
What comes to mind, if he's attributing all of this to Sean Paul, why wouldn't he have sought after a restraining order?
Good point, Todd.
Yep. And if he had that many complaints about Sean Paul, then why would he have not done exactly what Todd was saying a short while ago, which is just disengage? Like I would want, if I were a citizen of Connecticut, I would want to know that the Connecticut State Troopers have a measured response to a given set of circumstances, whatever those may be, whether they were on duty or off duty. If there's behavioral issues, anger management issues, emotional issues, an emotional response to a set of circumstances, I want to know that my state troopers know how to respond legally and in a very carefully measured way. So he could have just disengaged, and he didn't. And at some point in this report, I think it said like there was a duration of like 45 seconds from when he went into the house and then came out of the house with a firearm. 45 seconds?
It's a long time.
I don't think that's a long time. Do you? Or maybe it's been a long day for me. For me, I guess it arguably could be a long time to think things through and go in your.
I think it does. I mean, if I sat here in time, let's just do it really quick.
Oh no.
No, yeah, I'm going to do it. Let's see how long 45 seconds feels. I guarantee you it's going to give enough time to give you judgment to think about, should I go out there with a firearm? Or like Todd said, and I've said this myself, if this is truly a threat, if he says that he knows who Sean Paul Reyes is. Look, Sean Paul has had a past. Okay, let's put that out there. We know of his past. Okay, I truly believe that people can reform themselves. I have faith. I try to look at the good in everybody, give people a second chance. Okay, and maybe this is his second chance, turning around, starting a YouTube channel, and exposing things that should be out there and the truth that should be out there. But 45 seconds, I think, to me, gives enough time to make a judgment. So let's just do this, right? We'll time it really quick. I'm going to hit start on my phone. 1, 2, 3.
It's starting to feel like a long time.
It's a long time.
But I'm liking this. I wish, as you're doing it, I wish Judge Cannoni let Alan Jackson do the 22-second example that he wanted to during the. Why am I whispering, by the way?
Because everybody in the chat said, shh. Okay.
Boom.
That's 45 seconds.
So here's what I would say to that. There are two sides to that stone. 45 seconds is a long time to think, make a better decision, and to react in a measured way. 45 seconds is also a quick amount of time, in my opinion, where he is acting under a set of circumstances and he's in his house. He could have done other things, get the law enforcement on the phone. He could have shouted out his front door and never came back out. Like it's a long time, but it's also not that long of a time. Either way, he made the wrong decision and had an over emotional reaction. And he's, in my opinion, he deserves everything that's coming to him, whether including a future civil action that's coming.
I would think, with the years of experience and the training, to have a level set head at this point, I've now retreated back to my residence. What is the purpose of me going back out there now? Is this really going to solve or prove anything? I would lock my door. I would have my phone. I'm in my residence. I can arm myself, because if this person breaches my door, I have every right to shoot them.
Yep.
That's what I would do. And I would relay the information looking through the window. Look, I've engaged with this individual. I've told them to leave my property. We clearly see that in the video. Sean Paul actually goes, let's go, meaning let's leave. He's telling his cameraman, let's go. He says it several times, over and over and over again. I am leaving your property. And he escalates instead of de-escalating and literally chest bumps him off his property with a loaded fucking firearm in his hand. And thank God, I just thank God that nothing happened to anybody in that situation. I don't want to see anybody get hurt in a literally, you're asking a question. That's it. You're asking a question. And this could have ended completely different. And
Fahey's best decision was when he went back inside the house and he flushed it all down the toilet when he returned back outside.
If he stayed in his house, Todd, would he still be employed by the Connecticut State Troopers?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's my point.
Yep.
Not that I think that he should be, but it shows his true character. And Sean has documented this with all of the incidents that he's had with Brian, former Trooper Brian Fahey, that he doesn't have the tolerance for the position. It's over. It's done. You don't have the tolerance for this type of stuff. So, okay. So we'll just keep quickly kind of running through this. I'm not going to read any of the supposedly threats that were put out there. And he's still going on about, says, due to the ongoing threats, Sergeant Fahey stated he implemented additional security measures at his residence, including posting no trespassing sign. So now he actually is saying that he's posted it, and installing a ring surveillance camera. He further noted that his home is located on a private lot situated well back from the roadway on such of a residence that's non-visible from the cul-de-sac. The interviewer sought that understand how Sergeant Fahey felt in the moment that he observed Sean Reyes at his door. Fahey emphasized that it was not merely the presence of Mr. Reyes that is concerned, it's the fact that it was Sean Paul Reyes, who's a convicted felon, accompanied by another individual who was wearing a mask and a hood. Now, Sean has doubled down on that and said that his cameraman did not wear a mask and a hood that day. I don't know. I don't think that there's anything to lie about. It's all going to come out in an investigation. We don't see his cameraman in the video at all. But Sean has doubled down and said that it didn't happen, that he was not in a mask and a hood.
It's interesting. I'm wondering if there's and admittedly the cameraman might have taken those things.
Well, you would
off.
get it. Here you go. Here's this. When Sean walks up initially on the video, what does the ring camera say? You are now being recorded.
Right.
So you would see it on the ring cam footage.
Ring cam footage. Also, there may be reports for the Groton, if that's how you pronounce the town. The Groton police would have most likely prepared, I don't know if they're incident reports or some type of responding.
Yeah, we found a black ski mask or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Body cam.
What was that, Todd?
They had body cams.
Oh, were they wearing body cams? So,
And guess what? Guess who requested that footage?
oh, there you go. Now, we all can agree that even if the cameraman had a mask and a hood on, that maybe he disrobed from that by the time they got to the cul-de-sac, but it's worth exploring because that goes to the credibility also of Fahey. We already know that he had an overly emotional reaction, but let's see if he is incredible, meaning not believable. He's already incredible with regard to the signage that was not posted at the time of the approach to the property. But let's see if there's these additional embellishments like, oh, this guy he's a convicted felon. Oh, and the guy with him was wearing a mask and a hood. So I therefore potentially feared for my life or the safety of my family. That's a big order that he's looking to fill. I'd be interested to know what other tangential things would support that.
Yeah. All right, let's buzz through the rest of this, and I want to get kind of the most updated info on what's going on, and then we'll end the show with what else is rotten and grotten at the town council meetings. We'll talk a little bit about that. So it talks about Fahey going into his house, retrieving his firearm. Says that Reyes, he keeps doubling down. Reyes, a convicted felon who had served 3-year sentence on first-degree robbery with a firearm. Fahey emphasized that he did not know what was going to happen as he fled, no way of knowing what their intentions were. But that's kind of a bullshit statement. Here we go. So this goes back to even my bigger point. If you know who this person is, and Todd knows where I'm going with this because he's smiling. If you know who this person is and you know possibly what they're capable of, and they were convicted of armed robbery, why would you come out of your house and engage them? Why not, just like I said, stay in your home, arm yourself in your home? You have every right to do that. Lock your door, be on the phone with 911, relay the information that's happening outside of your residence. And what, in that video, it was like 3 minutes by the time the Groton police got there. Right, Todd?
Simple. Well put.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better.
It's over.
And I think the report includes the fact that it took 2 minutes and 28 seconds, even with edited video. The person who prepared this report says it took 2 minutes and 28 seconds for Mr. Reyes and his cameraman to retreat.
There
Right.
he is.
Oh, hello, Sean.
Sean Paul in the chat. What's up, man? How are
There
you?
we go.
What's up, man? Nice to see you over here. And if you didn't check out my interview with Sean Paul and Leroy Truth, you can check that on my channel. And Sean, I hope to see you in a couple of weeks at the next Groton town meeting. I will be there in attendance. So nice to see you in the chat, brother.
That's great.
So we go on here, and he talks about the spitting incident about the entire time, and he screamed. Let's see. He said, yes, but I did, but I don't remember doing it. Once Sean Paul Reyes crossed this cul-de-sac and stepped from the curtilage of Sergeant Fahey's property, Sergeant Fahey disengaged from the interaction. He didn't. He actually kept engaging. Shortly thereafter, the officers from the Groton Police Department, which is weird that they blank it out, follows the incident. Sergeant Fahey promptly notifies his chain of command and the state police union regarding the encounter with Mr. Reyes. Let's see, talks more about the 911 calls. I want these exhibits. I'm going to get them.
Yeah.
Or at least try to get them. I hope Sergeant Fahey gets clipped. And I don't want to talk about any of this stuff. Again, we don't condone any type of personal threats, or, we're just reading a report. Let's go down to the bottom where it talks about conduct unbecoming. So survey and conclusion, we get a whole conclusion to the back of basically outlining everything. Let's see. He also fails to accurately represent the full scope of the incident, as it does not solely involve Sergeant Fahey. At the time the encounter, both his wife and daughter were present inside the residence. Upon becoming aware of the situation, Fahey's wife entered a state of distress and immediately instructed her daughters to go upstairs and remain in her room safely. At that point, when they can no longer visually confirm the location and safety of Sergeant Fahey or Reyes, they exited the residence, leaving the protective confines to check on her husband. And it goes back to my bigger point. If this person is so threatening to you, then why would you leave the personal protection, the confines of your residence? Why not just stay inside?
Yeah, Brian, looking at the overall report, there's some holes in there for me as in regards to the accuracy of the reporting. But I did take a look at Connecticut State Police retirement. And just like Mass State Police, you have to complete 20 years of service before you're eligible for your pension. So I don't know how many years Fahey had on at the time.
Someone will probably let us know in the chat. When did Fahey join the force?
I thought I saw in the beginning of the report date of hire, January 19th, 2007.
7. So that puts us at what?
20 years.
I'm sorry.
What was that, Todd?
It means less than 20 years of service.
So just a question on that so I can better understand. First of all, we don't specifically exactly know what is meant by date of hire in this instance, but let's assume he was hired to work for the Connecticut State Police in January of 2007. What if he worked for another Connecticut agency? Is it a state or a commonwealth? I don't even know, but another state agency for Connecticut that predated 2007, and therefore he was in the system for more than 20 years. Like, is there a nuance there that he must work for the Connecticut State Police for 20 years before getting his pension?
No, the term is credible service. So if you work for a former state agency, that time could apply to bump him over the 20 years. Also, you can buy back military as well, your military time, if he had any prior military.
So let's get this straight, Todd. Just like former Trooper Proctor, no pension. You're saying this is with Fahey, no pension as well?
Unless Nan's point kicks in. Prior state service, let's just say he worked for environmental police, or he worked for an investigative bureau within the state. That credible state service would bump him over his existing time served with CSP and make him pension eligible.
And the reason I'm curious about it is he strikes me as a little bit more of a mature gentleman than like when I look at former disgraced Trooper Proctor, I think of him as a relatively young guy. He's not working anywhere more than 20 years in my mind, but someone could convince me very quickly that former Trooper Fahey might have another state agency or law enforcement outfit. So it's probably something to be explored. So I guess Todd has to give you like a qualified no, he wouldn't get his pension unless type of answer.
Sean in the chat is stating that he worked for the New London Police Department before the state police.
Would that matter to you, Todd? I'm still trying to understand the pension system.
Yeah.
It would depend on Connecticut. So again, New London obviously is a government agency. That time within that department could carry over. I don't know all of the nuances and elements in the state of Connecticut, but that prior time served with a previous municipality, it could cover. It could make him pension eligible.
Interesting.
We just said it at the same time.
Jinx, hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, I want to just let everybody know who's on the panel, because you're probably going, who are these people? We have a retired Mass State Police Trooper Todd McGhee and attorney Nan Gallagher hanging out with us tonight and kind of going through all this. We do these kind of spit sessions on Monday nights. We usually do this. Nan, what did you call that? We're going to be not the Three Amigos anymore. We're what? The glitch?
Oh yeah, the glitchy Mondays. No, the Monday the Monday glitch.
Monday glitches. Yeah,
I will glitch at some point, all of you, due to my tech deficiencies here.
Right. Okay. So again, we're getting more of the story. Fahey's talking about exiting his residence. Again, I think he had the opportunity, 45 seconds to think about that, and stay in the residence and just do, look, there's someone here. I don't want them here. Please come out and investigate it. So let's get to this here. Applicable statutes, rules, and regulations, and Todd will be able to speak to this. So offenses that may result in disciplinary action, any conduct that will reflect negatively on the Department of Emergency Services, to the public protection, conduct unbecoming recommendation, sustained.
Yep.
This investigation has established by a preponderance of the evidence, including Sergeant Fahey's own admission on July 17, 2025, while off duty in his private residence. We're going to go through this description again. During a verbal exchange, Sergeant Fahey intentionally, now he's admitted it. Now he has admitted it, intentionally spit in the face of Sean Paul Reyes. This action was captured on video and verbally acknowledged by Mr. Reyes at the time of the incident, while Sergeant Fahey stated that he does not recall spitting on Mr. Reyes. He does not now dispute that occurrence. The conduct of this behavior reflects negatively upon the department, and you have a couple of sergeants and a major that are confirming this. The final version of this report has been saved and retained on the DSP DOIT server, and that's a P drive. Is that like an internal server, Todd? Is that what that is? Something that they hold their records on? Yeah,
they can archive everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that first charge was sustained. They found him responsible for his behavior and his misconduct, during the time of the incident. So, as they should have.
Yeah, I agree. And just unfortunately, which is very strange, that spitting on someone or literally in their mouth. I mean, it went in Sean's mouth. I mean, it's pretty nasty.
Gross.
It's kind of animalistic thing to do, but spit in his mouth, and that's not an arrestable offense in Connecticut. Sean, in a journalistic capacity, goes out, asks a tough question, gets chest bumped off the property, spit in his face, has a firearm held to him, and there's no consequences for this individual. But Sean ends up getting arrested. It's such a weird dynamic and situation. I don't get it.
That's why these questions need to keep being asked. And that's why I'm assuming Sean and Leroy and others keep bringing this to the forefront, because it's not adding up. And also, as far as the spitting is concerned, I think Fahey's credibility is shot, in addition to so many other reasons why. But, looking at that video, a reasonable person can deduce that was done quite intentionally. It wasn't like I was speaking and yelling, and, we've all in our lives accidentally spit while we were talking. This wasn't that. This was an intentional act. So even though it is something that does not appear to currently be a basis to have arrested former Trooper Fahey, it is something that was an intentional act. And I hope that it sounds like there's a lawsuit that's been already initiated by Sean, and I wish him all the best in that. And if I can help provide any additional guidance to your counsel, just to give you some thoughts, please don't hesitate to reach out, because I think this, as Brian and Todd do, is a very important learning lesson. And there's these issues of overtime that you're exploring, Sean, that really matter to the public. So keep it going.
Yeah, and I just want to make everybody kind of transparent about this. I know there was a couple super chats, but they're not staging on my end, and I can't see them. So I apologize if I haven't read any of them. I usually do them at the end of the show, but I don't even see them at all. But I do see them in the regular chat, so I apologize. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard tonight, but they're just not showing up, which is really strange. They usually do, and then they get highlighted where I can pull them up. So I do apologize, but thank you anyway for the super chats. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to try to play through as much as this, and I do want to end the show with kind of the spit on chair incident, because that's really why I'm going to go out to the town council meeting, obviously to support Sean Paul, ask them why former trooper Brian Fahey was not arrested and Sean was. But I'm really bothered by this kind of spitting implication because, you know, they're implicating people that are concerned citizens that have showed up to voice their opinion about what happened to Sean Paul. And I find it very egregious that it took 41 minutes into this town council meeting after a break that the Tyrant Mayor Rachel Franco now says that someone spit. Councilwoman Russ said that when she came into the room, there was spit on her chair. Why would you not address that initially as the meeting opens? Like, look, you know, there is spit on the chair. We're shutting this down. There's cameras all in the room. We're going to review the evidence, and we're going to find out who did this. None of that happened. 41 minutes in, and now we're going to bring it up. And what? That means that just Councilwoman Russ likes to sit and spit during a meeting?
Gross.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
It's all lies. It is.
Right. Yeah. And I've forwarded that footage. I want to see it. They still have not given it. They're either running around. I've emailed the town manager, John Burt, will not return my email. I've emailed Mayor Rachel Franco, will not return my email. So I will go down there and speak to her in person in 2 weeks. But let's do this real quick. So Sean went out and went to file a report at the State Police Training Academy, because this is where it told him to go. And we'll play through some of this and see what happens.
Hey, how are you, ma'am?
Good, how are
Where's
you?
the POSTC office?
Post,
That
right?
I don't know.
Todd, you want to explain what post is?
Police officer and standards and training.
Yep.
1 second.
Sure.
You got no one recording. You guys
I'm sorry?
recording?
Yeah, I'm just here to see the commission.
Okay, you got the sign down here. Hold on.
Right. That's not a law, ma'am. I just wanted to see the commission.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Hold on.
get one of the troopers down here.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be right here. So it looks like they have some training session going on.
All right, so Sean makes his way into the entranceway. I'm not going to play through all this. I want to come out when he gets his first, we'll call this a confrontation.
Again, we're here to. Hey, sir, who are you?
No, who are you?
Who are you? So
Who are you?
you came to speak to me.
Who are you? Do you have your
Oh.
credentials on?
Yeah.
How'd you get in the front door?
Oh, I was let in, sir. Who
By
are
who?
you? Who are you, sir?
By who?
Who are you, sir?
By who?
I don't know anybody's name. Nobody wants to give me their names
All right.
like you.
You need to exit this is a secured building. You need to exit the building immediately. There is no videotaping. There's a sign right there. It says no audio or videotaping it at all. You need to exit the building.
That's not a law. This is
You need to
a
exit the building immediately.
right, but I'm here to see a public
Exit
office. The public.
The building immediately.
Am I
This is
in
not
the,
a public office.
am I in the wrong
This is-
space? Is this where the Connecticut Police Officer Standards and Training Council
This
is?
is not it. No, goodbye.
Yeah, this is where it is.
Sir.
Do you mind if I get your name before I leave, sir?
No, you can leave.
Oh my God.
Sawyer.
Good. Out the door.
But
This is a secured building.
This is where the Connecticut
This is a
Police
secured
Officer.
building. You are not allowed in here. It says it right in there. No audio, no recording. Goodbye.
Connecticut Police
Have a
Officer
good day.
Standards and Training Council.
Have a good day.
Is that where this office is?
Have a good day.
Sir, I'm not a threat to you. I'm a journalist. I'm asking questions. I wanted to submit this complaint.
Have a good day.
This,
Go.
I am in the process of leaving, but I'm asking some questions.
Good, you can keep walking. We're not answering any questions. Have a good day.
Sir, this is where the Connecticut Police Officer Standards and Training Council is, correct?
From the outside.
Yeah, good. You can film right in front of, and that's
All right, I'm out of the building now.
That's fine.
This is the address where
all the way out.
I am out of the building.
So we can
sir.
close the door, sir.
Thank you.
This is a secured facility. This is a secure building. This is not.
It's not so secure if I got
Yes,
here,
it
right?
is.
If I walked in.
It doesn't matter.
Close the door now, sir. Okay, thank you.
You see the
Sir,
key code?
where
The
is-
key code to get in?
I didn't enter a key code.
Hi, guys.
Excuse me, sir. Do you know where the Connecticut Police Officer Standards and Training Council it gives this address and it says it's open to the public from 9 to 4, sir.
So this building isn't open to general public.
But do you know where the training council is, sir? Excuse me. Oh, that was a warm welcome.
Wow.
I'm going to go up to the panel, and I know that neither one of you have seen this video. I have. Give me your honest opinion, and our opinions may vary or they may be the same. I'm going to go to Nan first because she said, wow.
I'm so upset to see this. Now, Todd, I don't know how Todd's going to react.
We're going to hear.
But my reaction to this is that Sean, okay, I'm going to say this. Sean, I don't know if you should have been recording. You should have been recording in there if there was signage that says no audio or visual recording of any like. Okay, hold that aside. He is in there asking the simplest of questions, whether is this where that, I don't remember the acronym, where that particular office is located.
Post.
This is the address.
Yep.
Post.
Post.
And he's asking, he's saying, I don't know who let me in. May I have your name? He's just trying to find information from a public office, and to see, I'm assuming officers, I don't know, but I'm assuming they are law enforcement officers doing what has been my observation of a lot of officers recently in these stories, just bullying their way and saying, you need to leave, get out of this building, not answering a single question, even a non-substantive question, just basic information to someone who does not pose a threat, who identified himself as a member of the press or a journalist trying to just procure information. This causes a visceral reaction in me. It didn't need to be so adversarial. It very much could have been, sir, be happy to answer your questions, but we do not allow recording in this building. Can you please turn that off? Let's have a conversation. So I'm really upset when I'm watching this, but Todd, go ahead. That's a layperson's response.
Yeah, no, Nan, very, very well put. The bottom line is it's a public building. It's state property. All this First Amendment stuff, cops step in it all the time. There's no reason why he shouldn't have given his name. There's no reason why he couldn't have answered Sean's questions as to, am I even on the right side of the building? Am I on the right side of the property? I can only imagine a big state building. It's probably sitting on a couple of acres, and there's multiple entrances. Am I in the right place? Simple information. That's also part of de-escalating, right? Instead of, I'm not giving you my name. Who are you? I mean, we could see right off the bat where this is going. Again, as far as written signage, I'm one, I'm a security guy, so I'm one to say signage helps tell the story and that people should comply with whatever the signage is saying. That being said, information's information. He's not there, creating a ruckus. Give the man his information and help him to move on.
Yeah.
And
He wasn't aggressive at all. He was asking a question. And listen, I understand why he probably would want a cameraman with him with everything that he just went through. I would want documentative proof as well too. At this point, as Sean Paul Reyes, I'm not trusting any law enforcement officer that's in 5 feet of me. So yeah, I would want a cameraman there documenting. He's not being aggressive. He's asking a simple question. Someone literally could have just looked at him and said, sir, you're in the wrong area. We just don't want you recording in here. If you step outside, Give me 2 minutes. I will get you a card of someone that you can call and talk to.
Right.
Here's an email address. Here's a phone number. It's pretty damn simple.
Nan used the word earlier, reasonable. What's reasonable?
Yeah.
And that's the standard in a civil action when there's I'm not saying that Sean should be filing a civil action against that particular office.
Sure.
But in a civil action, what a jury would be asked to assess is what would a reasonable person do or a reasonable law enforcement officer do under the same set of or similar set of circumstances. This strikes me as unreasonable. And I will point out to a word that Todd just used, which is de-escalating, because all the conduct of that particular officer did was to make this worse because he didn't de-escalate. And now it becomes a situation where, from my observation, Sean is whose entire platform is about questioning authority and respectfully getting answers so that he can be transparent and uncover corruption and over expenditures. That's my nutshell observation of him. And if that is indeed the case, he's getting doors shut in his face, both literal and proverbial, left and right. I feel for him.
Yeah. All right. So I sped up a little bit here. Let's see the next interaction.
There's some sort of office here for the POSTC, the Connecticut Training Council. But there's some office here that exists. Maybe there is a headquarters we can go to. I don't know, but I think the behavior and the conduct of the Connecticut State Police, very aggressive for, they could have just answered who they were. Who are you? No, who are you? No, all the back and forth of just a polite conversation. We were right in the lobby of the building. We were let in. De-escalation works wonders. Hey, sir, how are you? They asked me for my credentials, and I actually brought my credentials today, courtesy of freepresspass.com. Printed this out earlier today. I normally don't carry credentials, as you all know, because they're useless. I mean, only people who believe in credentials are the people who don't understand the United States Constitution and the First Amendment. But, let's play by their game. Let's play by their game and see how far it gets us. And our credentials didn't get us anywhere. So didn't get us anywhere. And I brought the man with the suit and a tie as the camera man over here, Leroy Truth. Leroy Truth Investigation. Again, he wasn't, my original cameraman wasn't as well dressed as Leroy, but he sure wasn't wearing a mask and a hood.
Yeah.
But we'll wait for a call back and we'll see what happens.
I'm looking for the POSTC.
My name is Tom Weider. I'm the executive director.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you, sir. My name is Sean. Nice to meet you. And your name, ma'am?
Jessica.
Jessica. Nice to meet you, Jessica. So I'm here. Thank you for your card. So I'm here just to speak with somebody. When I Googled the POSTC, the Connecticut State Police Training Council, it brought me here. And per Connecticut General Statute, I wanted to file a complaint against a former police sergeant, Brian Fahey, for his conduct while he was a state police officer. I brought some documents and some evidence to submit. I'm not a lawyer, but I looked at there's a mechanism via the Connecticut General Statutes to submit that complaint directly to the POSTC, the Training Council. Are you familiar with that?
Well, sure, of course we are.
Okay, I don't know. So.
We don't accept revocation requests from the general public. We only accept revocation requests from chief law enforcement officials of law enforcement units in Connecticut.
Okay, the statute doesn't allow a member of the public to submit a complaint?
Well, you can submit a complaint. This is not, the Post Council, Post Academy is not an investigative body per se. So if there was a revocation request to be submitted here, it would come from a chief law enforcement official from a law enforcement unit.
But it doesn't specifically.
Is he spitting facts, Todd?
I'm wondering if Sean got bad information and they sent him to the wrong place. That's kind of my initial reaction. But you can make a complaint at the local barracks.
And if I may supplement that, Todd, Sean never even used the word revocation. The individual he's speaking with is like, well, any request to revoke needs to come from law enforcement.
Yeah.
I apologize. I'm not hearing all of the particular segments of the police that they're saying this has to come from. Sean just wants to lodge a complaint.
That's it.
That's it. You know, he wants to, may I speak with your manager? You know,
someone. I just gotta get the information that I have in my hand into someone that it will get into the right hands. That's it. It's pretty simple.
It's going to be more of a internal administrative process if they're going to investigate. Their function is not to field citizens' complaints. That should be done in a much easier, local, accessible way for the general public to make a complaint.
Yeah.
And Brian, just very quickly in the chat, my comment about signage, I was not commenting that just putting up mere signage creates a law. I said that my background is in security, and that when folks post signage on their property, that people should respect that. That's it. Doesn't make it a law, doesn't make it enforceable. Just respect that this person is requesting this particular condition while you're on property. That's it.
Of course. I like this by Leroy. It says the professional comes from within, not with one wears. I like that. I really like that
I'm
statement.
liking Leroy more and more.
That's
Yeah.
a great statement. Yeah.
They state that in the statute from what I'm from the way I'm familiar. The
So
way I read
the
it.
post council has policy on who they will request from. That is
So
actually,
it's an internal policy.
it's a post council. Post council is an appointed body.
Okay. If you can, I just grab the law here, the actual. I just want to show you something. I'll left it over here.
Grab that law. Grab
Make
it.
sure we're talking about the same thing. So I was submitting the complaint pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 7-294D.
Yes.
This guy's like
that's the
humming
same
up,
statute we're talking about.
Yes.
And I would just give some. So your internal policy at the training council does not allow for a member of the public to submit a complaint against an officer for conduct unbecoming that way.
Right. So, I mean, if we're talking about a complaint per se, right, not revocation, we don't investigate complaints against officers. We frequently receive complaints here from the public because they think this might be a landing spot to send them. We refer them typically back to the agency where an officer is employed. If we're talking about revocations, again, it's the post council standing policy that they only accept revocation requests from the chief law enforcement official for law enforcement unit, which is typically the chief of police or
in this case, the colonel,
right,
the commanding officer,
the colonel of the state
commissioner,
police is
the chief,
law
right,
enforcement official.
the colonel, Daniel Loftman. Okay, but there's no mechanism for dealing with you guys directly because the colonel, the chief law enforcement officer for the Connecticut State Police, he issued an internal affairs report. He signed off on an internal affairs report about this incident, but it's full of inaccuracies and false statements. And you know, again, I was reading the statute, and it doesn't provide for the complaint has to come from a chief law enforcement officer.
Well, first of all, I can't speak for Colonel Lockman or process. No comment on that. But again, this is the policy here at the academy. It's the policy established by the post council, which has authority over certification, decertification, revocation.
And the post council is made up of
22 appointed people. 7294 outlines all of the appointments and where they have to come from to be considered for an appointment.
Okay, so it's 22 individuals. Are they law enforcement individuals?
I believe 8 of them are chiefs of police. The governor of our state has a lot of the appointments.
Okay.
Members of the General Assembly, Senator Pro Tem has an appointment. It's all listed in the statute.
Okay. All right. Well, if that's the internal policy, I mean, there's nothing I could do. I really appreciate you coming out and speaking with me. And you know, I just, again, when I Googled, I did a quick Google search of, you know, where the office was. I wasn't aware that this is somehow a restricted building to the public.
Yeah, I mean, this is a public building, but we don't service the public.
What?
Okay.
Brian, you got to give me a heads up if you're going to show me videos that are going to piss me off.
This is a public building, but we don't service the public.
Somebody needs to clip that. That's a good one.
It's great. Sean, that would be good. Sean, I know you're in here. You need to clip that and put that on your channel. All right. let's speed up because we're going to get a little bit of the rundown. They send him into another direction of another office. This is the Division of Criminal Justice. It's the Office of the Chief State Attorney. And Sean's going to go there for some information as well and try to get to the Inspector General. But apparently that's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost a non-existent office that you can get in touch with, which is very strange. But and literally all he wants to do is hand a complaint and a thumb drive to someone and say, here's my complaint. Can you get it to someone? And this is the runaround he's got.
May I please just interject for one moment? That gentleman in the suit who was just talking to Sean already admitted on video that they can receive complaints
but they
from the public and then refer them to whatever separate arm of the police that they need to. They could have received, and I'm using received in quotes, they could have received his complaint, whether it was written, thumb drive, or verbal, and memorialized it and passed it along. And I would dare say poor Sean is what my father would call a lost fart in a blizzard at this point, because he's just trying to get to the right door to get the right answer. You know, I feel, and I mean no disrespect, Sean, when I say that. You're just going where they're telling you to go. It's actually really,
it's running in a circle.
It's a benefit, the fact that you're going through this to try to get the answers, because you're going to be able to tell a story as you're doing now and in the future as to how difficult it has been to get answers.
Oh boy. All right, here we go.
These government buildings are locked down, but we'll see what we can do. Let's get into it.
Scotland, excellent. Look at this.
Hi, who are you here to see, man?
Hi, the Inspector General. His office. Inspector General's office, I was told, is here.
They are not in this office.
No?
They have a protected address. Okay.
Inspector General?
Yes. Hold on. We'll get you the on-call inspector for the day because they'll be able to help you.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
I do have to say this, though. Through his journey, people have been a lot more nicer to him. So we at least give some credit there. And you're going to see the two guys that come out are actually pretty nice. I don't know if his report's going to actually get to the Inspector General, but we'll see. All right, let me just bounce this up. Here we go.
Thank you, sir. Hello. Excuse me. So I went to the Connecticut Police Officer Standards Training Council. I was looking to part of the Connecticut General Statute 729 4D to submit a complaint that would revoke certification of a law enforcement officer. So I was recently attacked by a law enforcement officer, former sergeant. He now is retired, former sergeant. He was an active duty Connecticut State Police Officer, former Sergeant Brian Fahey. So I wanted to submit a complaint against him. I had some documents here. They told me to come speak to the Inspector General's office. Do you guys work out of that office? No. You guys are just
the Chief State Attorney's office.
Right, but this is the address that's given for the Inspector General.
I can take whatever you want and turn it in, or you can scan it, email it, or you can mail it. Whatever you like.
Is the Inspector General like under the Chief State's Attorney? Like, is that, or is it like a separate agency? Like, I know his name's
under the same
Judge
umbrella.
Elliott or something like that. He was just appointed in July 1st. But it's under the same umbrella as the Division of Criminal Justice.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Kinda.
Yeah. See, this is for the
Direct complaint.
yeah, for the Chief State's Attorney, the Office of the Chief State's Attorney.
Yeah, we don't want the Inspector General.
Is his office here?
No.
His office isn't here. The Inspector General. Okay. Yeah, if you want.
I put it in an envelope, we can get it.
Yeah.
Put his name on it if you want.
Yeah, that'd be
We
great.
can get you an envelope.
Yeah, sure. I have flash drive too.
Oh, yeah, whatever you want to put. You
Right.
seal it up and then
Perfect.
we'll make sure it gets to where it's got to go.
I appreciate that.
All right, hang on a
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, that's pretty much going to be the interaction. No one knows anything. No one sees anything. No, we don't work for them. The address is private. The office is private. But hey, it's a public building, but we don't serve the public. I guess that's the theme.
I can't. I am so frustrated because,
man.
you know, as an attorney trying to get some answers on some cases involving government entities, I'm not even sure half the time if I'm asking the right questions of certain agencies. And it would frustrate me and my clients who pay for me to have to ask various different offices the simplest of questions. It's a matter of customer service. Just, you know, and then there's the tie of the public pays for these offices. Okay. The public pays these salaries. The poor guy just wants to do the right thing and get right. And why should he have to just submit something by mail or by, you know, some type of Dropbox or an email? He's going as far as going in person to where he thinks he's supposed to go, and all he's being met with are proverbial and literal shut doors in his face. It's ridiculous.
Todd, anything you want to add here?
Public service.
What's that?
Nan just described public service.
Yeah.
Simple. The end.
That's it.
Yeah.
No public service.
It's really unfortunate.
Let's do this. Let's end. I know we've been almost 2 hours here. I want to give back some of your time tonight. And I appreciate Nan and Todd for joining me. We do this every Monday evenings. We do kind of these, no pun intended, these spit sessions and talk about things that are going on in Massachusetts or our neighboring states. And I'm very captivated and interested by this whole story, you know, that Sean's kind of brought out. And again, I'm so glad that these guys have embraced that I'm doing this, allowed me to use their content and show their content, because this is it's a formidable issue for journalists. I mean, this started out with a journalist literally being spat in his face, and I don't find that to be right. And I don't think the charges that are brought upon Sean warrant that. And you know, I just wish him a lot of luck in his legal case, and I'll continue to support him through this. And I also want to make note of this too. I've been watching Sean for a while, and I really appreciate his reporting on the Marcy Correctional Facility with the correctional officers that killed Robert Brooks, inmate Robert Brooks. And one of them, I believe his last name is Warat. Chris Warat was just sentenced the other day to 15 years in prison for killing Robert Brooks. He ultimately ended up admitting it and admitted what he did in the killing of Robert Brooks. And Sean did a phenomenal job of going out and asking questions at those facilities. Are you part of the beat up crew? And had a lot of information that had come to him, and he exposed that and brought that forward. So kudos to Sean. It was a very difficult video to watch. Todd and I actually went through it together, and I'm glad that these guys are being criminally held responsible. Some of these pieces of shit are going to bring this to a trial in front of a jury and think that they're going to win. And I hope that they get the longest sentence possible when they lose in this, because there's so much video evidence that covered everything. I just don't see an excuse how they're going to explain this away. So we'll keep an eye on it here on this channel. Again, I appreciate Sean for exposing that, because it needed to be brought out. It's a story that's very interesting that didn't catch any national attention, which is odd. It needed to be put out there. So that's what I have to say about that. All right, let's talk about. Go ahead, Nan.
Sorry, Brian. Sometimes stories that you know, as a consumer of these true crime stories, sometimes they don't get national attention. But I just want to thank you and other content creators and people like Todd who bravely come forward and tell these stories, no matter how much attention they get, because every little conversation, every little click and view really helps inform people in the general public, more and more who are turning to platforms like YouTube and elsewhere to get valuable information like this. So I would encourage you to keep showing up.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Okay, let's kind of finish with this really quick. I want to give Todd and Nan some of their time back this evening. So back in on August 3rd, Sean Paul Reyes and co, they joined in the town council meeting, and there had been an allegation from Councilwoman Rusk on the panel that she had seen spit on her chair. Now, I went through every visible piece of video and evidence that was shot prior to the meeting, which is great. All these guys captured it, and just prior to after. And there was no incident, and there was no incident at all that we saw in that footage that there was any spitting of the chair. There was no one that breached the secure area, walked over there, went near the council person's table. And this is what I find very interesting. It took 41 minutes for Mayor Rachel Franco to bring this up during the meeting that Councilwoman Rusk had spit on her chair. I'm going to play this clip really quick.
Just like to make it clear to my community that when I go and speak at the Board of Ed during citizens' comments, I can speak as a citizen, just as though I see other people that come here and speak as citizens, although they are elected officials on other boards, as well as fellow town councilors do as well on numerous occasions. And I don't think we've ever discussed that here as a body. I would like to also notify Mr. Burt that prior to the meeting starting, Councilor Rusk did have spit on her seat. So I know we have recordings in these rooms. So if it would be possible to look at these recordings to see how this played out. It's very inappropriate. And I will say that the amount of time that we are doing as speakers is in our rules. And if you look at other towns and cities, they also have time limits. They also have the amount of time that citizen comments can last. I know for just facts because I've gone and spoken at one as at Norwich. They only allow, I believe it's 30 minutes. So this is not unusual. It happens broadly across the state. This is nothing unusual. And actually, I just want the council to know that I do plan to keep this in play for the remainder of the term that I am the mayor.
So another big gripe was before this meeting, because she knew that people were going to come in and speak about Sean Paul Reyes' false arrest for the Groton Police Department and the whole spitting incident that no one had, stuck up and said anything. It used to be an open forum, but before that meeting, she limited, and let's give Councilwoman Bordelon that wasn't putting up with the shit and called out the mayor during and said, look, if the public comes in and they want to engage, they should be given the full allotted time that we've given in the past. So the mayor wanted to limit the conversations or the public speaking, like we've seen in the Canton town meetings. We saw that as well. We're going to limit everybody. We're going to limit free speech and cut everybody's time down because we don't want to hear it and we want to move on with our agenda. And again, talking to back to Councilwoman Bordelon that didn't like this and spoke up. And we're going to see what happened during this last meeting. If either of you have any comment on this, I'll open the floor really quick.
I do have a couple quick comments. What is this blonde woman's name?
That's Mayor Rachel Franco.
Mayor Franco literally said two things that were completely opposite. She said, I have the right to speak as a citizen during this meeting, but yet she speaks and talks about nothing but the protocols and policies that govern the meeting, which meant that she wasn't speaking as a citizen. She was speaking in her capacity as the mayor who somehow has a role or seat or oversees this committee. Second, as far as my observation of her is concerned, she is in a manner that she knows nothing about firsthand is starting to guide or steer what needs to be looked into, that they need to look at this footage to get to the bottom of whether or not there was spit on a particular seat. I think right now it seems to me, while it should be looked into, it seems like she's overstepping quite a bit. And the last comment I would make about her is I just don't get a warm and fuzzy sense from her other than she's looking to censor people. If you're going to put time limits in, or you're going to inconsistently enforce time limits on how long someone can speak at one meeting but not at others, then you're clearly showing that you want to censor certain messaging on certain topics, whether it's Sean Paul Reyes's matter or any other. Either way, she's showing me that she does not have the appropriate mindset and discretion to exhibit no conflict of interest in how she comports herself. I think she's conflicted, and I think she should sit down and keep her mouth shut.
Man, I went through every piece of available footage that was shot that day prior to the meeting. We followed and tracked Councilwoman Rusk while she entered the meeting room and went to her chair. She hand sanitized quite a few times. And I went back and actually looked at some other videos, and she hand sanitized quite a few times in those videos as well. Could this spit be hand sanitizer that fell on her chair? And the funny thing is, she even, when she sits, doesn't even make any motion, because guess who she sits next to? She sits next to the mayor, and didn't make any indication prior to that meeting starting that, look, hey, there's something in my chair, or we need to stop the meeting. No, the meeting went on for 41 minutes, and then we're going to fabricate a story because it fits with the narrative of spit in the face. Oh, there was spit on the chair. Really? So what I did was I requested, like I said, the camera footage at 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I want to see, where is the spit? So when I go to the town meeting in 2 weeks, because I know I'm not going to get it, I'm going to ask her in person. I FOIA requested you. You need to release the video. We need to see it. And there's still no arrest. There's no arrest. There's no photo of the spitter out there. There's no question. Have you seen this man on the milk carton? Where is it? Where is it? So
I think that's a good plan. And I think it very well, if there was anything on the seat, it may very well have been hand sanitizer. Who knows? But unless they're doing DNA swabs, or you're going to call in a competent law enforcement agency or department to perform testing, I think it's a little presumptuous for her to very quickly conclude that it was spit on the chair.
Okay. This is the next. Go ahead, Todd.
Just a lack of professionalism on the mayor's part. You know, it just, you can conduct your affairs, you lead the meeting, stay professional.
Yeah. So we had August 3rd when Sean Paul Reyes was there. This is the next meeting that they had. I believe this one's not open to the public, but we're going to see some back and forth from Councilwoman Bordelin and Mayor Franco.
I received still a ton of phone calls regarding the whole police situation that's been discussed over and over at many of the meetings. I still continue to get calls from people calling from all over. I have received some calls from local folks with concerns about the new rule change in regards to limiting folks down to 2 minutes and then only holding a 30-minute public comment portion of our meeting, which only happens once a month, and constituents feel that their voices or time is being suppressed and changed, which is something we've never done. In the past, we have gone from 5 minutes down to 3 minutes. So it's not the time change necessarily, but we've had larger attendance of people. We're very upset about other issues that we're here 100 people deep and we went down to 3 minutes, but we never limited to a 30-minute dialogue in total. And so folks are very concerned about that, considering this is only their one opportunity per month. If they come out and a bunch of people show up, then, and they had questions, when does the 30 minutes start? Or is it each of the person? Is it when they're walking up to, like, the whole time, from the time we started to the time, like how is that being monitored? And I said, I don't know, but good questions. I personally don't agree with it at all.
She's the only one that challenges
With
the
that,
mayor
I
on that
also
panel.
wanted to say I'm very, very disgusted and disheartened by the decision of not putting me on a standing committee. The mayor had an opportunity again with the vacancy to put me on. I've been asking, I've been emailing, and I think to place another new member on and bypass a long-standing elected member to the community. Again, people aren't happy, and it's just very unfortunate. It's not a matter of liking people. I've been told that I'm not on for reasons, tons of reasons, that I don't work well with others. They don't want me on there, all which are not fair and equitable. I deserve every right to be there. If you want me there or not, I was duly elected at large. No one up here is a strong election. It's individually elected. And I have the support of the community, and I deserve a right to be on a standing committee. And it's just very frustrating, again, to be boxed out. So with that, I also received some phone calls about the bathrooms downtown in Mystic. So
I'm gonna speed up here a little bit. Let's get to, here we go.
Directed directly at me. I would not consider these communications from our residents, but rather from people that live outside of our community. They are not your normal typical communications. I would rather say that they are very harassing in nature, very concerning for my safety, the safety of my family. And I think when we talk about, as a council, anything to do with the comment section and wanting to use words like suppressing, I would like to say nobody's rights have been violated, and changing the timing of the public comments is something that I was able to do as the mayor. And it is not unusual that other communities do this, and to use things like suppress and how
she's focusing on Borderland right now.
How very concerning it is. Well, let me just tell you, I'm very concerned for my safety.
Oh, God.
And I think that some people, when they want to keep going on with the rhetoric to encourage this type of communications from people, is very concerning and very disgusting to me.
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
direct it out towards the community, please.
Yeah, point of order.
Point of order.
Councilor Parker, I can speak.
Point of order.
Time as much as I'd like. Thank you.
Madam
Councilor Bordelon, what is your point of order? And
Um,
I would like also, when we are finished with this part, I will have more time to back on
My point of order is you're staring at me and directing it towards me. And the comments I said, I have call some local
This
people.
is not about your time to talk.
about
This is
the
my time to
30
talk,
minutes,
and you're
and I
out of
hear you're
order.
concerned
You're
about
out of
safety.
order. You are out of
But
order.
the
You
calls
do not
I were
have the
not
floor.
related to the
That is
police.
not a point of order.
Concerned about the
That is
time.
not a point of
So I
order.
just
That is not a point of order. You're
Thank you.
out of order again.
Thank you. I just want to be represented.
You're
fairly.
out of order again.
Thank you
Oh,
for
my God.
representing.
So again, for the third time, you're out of order.
Thank you.
So I'll continue.
Just represent fairly.
I will continue.
Just make sure you-
I will, we're going to take a break now. It's 6:42. We're taking a break because Councilor Bordelon will not remain in order, and do not speak at this time. Do
And
not speak
I
at
want
this
you
time.
to appropriately.
Do not
represent me
speak
in
during
your
this
comments.
time.
Thank
You are out of order for,
Thank
this
you.
is your second time that you are now out of order.
Thank you.
So we're me calling it out of order 3 times in a row. Twice now.
Thanks.
One more time, we can go into our rules.
I've already reset that.
No, I have not recessed because you have not stopped taking the floor when you don't have it.
Wow.
So it is 6:43 now. We're going to take a 5-minute break.
What? No, this gets
Yeah,
better.
it is perfect, isn't it?
Just represent me fairly. People called about.
I didn't
30
say
minutes.
your name.
You looked
And
directly
you
at
need to
me.
stop. You need to stop.
No, I
Right
don't.
now, you
No,
need
I
to
don't.
stop.
I don't have to
You
stop.
need to stop.
I don't.
Don't
I
speak
asked-
to me.
I didn't.
Do not
represent
speak
me
Embarrassment.
directly.
Do not speak to
They
me.
weren't non-local
Do not
people
speak to
that
me.
called.
Do not.
They cut the mic, and she's still screaming at her, and this goes on for about another 5 minutes. So look, I like the fact that Sean and I'll call him his crew, Leroy, Garden State Accountability, went down and started asking some questions the prior week, because now it's got some people thinking that are on that council. So good work, Sean, Leroy, and co. Because now, like I said, it's got some people thinking about how this is all working in the town of Groton. Any comments before we finish tonight?
Look like Canton.
It does, doesn't it, Todd?
Look like Canton. I don't know. That stuff shouldn't be public facing.
Yeah.
And
Man.
I'm not saying that other councilwoman shouldn't have spoke her mind. She's got standing and has a position to make. But you like to think that your leaders can hammer that stuff out behind the scenes.
Agreed. And this is an embarrassment. Also, I say this as a woman. This seemed like an overly emotional response to two women who didn't really vibe with each other that evening. That's my takeaway. But also, I do think that the mayor, unless there are specific bylaws that would have governed the order of that proceeding, the mayor is misapplying Robert's Rules of Order, which I will not bore your audience with. But it does sound to me like Ms. Bordelon had every right to speak. It's just that Mayor Franco just didn't want to hear it. And the fact that they have to take a break,
Yeah.
I felt like I was listening to me talking to my 10-year-old who got in trouble. Well, we're going to take a break. Go in timeout. And then once you've remedied your behavior, we'll start again. If I were anyone else in that room, including other members of that committee, I would be extremely annoyed. Woman needs to go.
Yeah. And just to let everybody know, I think this is how the super chats are looking tonight behind in StreamYard. So it's got to be a glitch in StreamYard. But I want to say, what's up to JFK? Thank you. Thank you so much. And a $4.99er from JFK says, Nan, you look awesome. We'll end on this one tonight. A question for Todd. Did he get interviewed about Francis? And I'm going to mispronounce the last name. Gigliotti. Yeah. The case in Haverhill. And what's your opinion of it? So that's a great ending here to the show.
Yeah, I did a story on this with local media. It appeared that the custodial death was due to positional asphyxia. There was an arrest made after a call for service about, I believe, erratic behavior and basically a mental health call. And again, just nightmare call for law enforcement to deal with. Turned out that Gigliotti died while in custody as the officers were arresting him, placing handcuffs on him. I think there's some training issues that need to be addressed with the department. There's more information. I'd like to know his physical, were there drugs in the system, were there other things? And that's not to put blame, that's to understand his physical condition, because if there's drugs in the system that can quickly induce heart attacks. So there's a much bigger picture to understand about what was going on with his physical condition at the time. So hopefully more information will be released so we have a better, clearer understanding as to what caused his death.
It's one thing I've always admired about you, Todd, is that you give reasonable answers to things, but you're always the guy that waits for the final report and then you make your ultimate decision. And that's what I admire about you and what I respect about you. And I know that you were very much like that through the whole Karen Reed trials when we kind of processed that all out on this channel. And I have to say, you've come a long way since I first met you. You've been a lot more open in what you say. I appreciate your openness, your transparency, and I like the fact that you don't change on your values. And I know that we've been up on this panel and we've disagreed on things, and that's such a great thing because we can't agree on everything all the time, right? But yeah, I appreciate that, and thank you for letting them know. Let's see, Nan, any final words? And of course, all those great things to Nan too. Of course. And again, we do these on Monday nights. We kind of do these spitball sessions on certain topics that are in and around our local areas. I want to thank everybody for subscribing and being here today. All that crew in Connecticut, you guys are awesome. Garden State Accountability, Leroy Truth Investigates, Sean, Long Island Audit. You guys are great, accepting, a very open group. I've had many conversations with you all, and I appreciate you allowing me part of kind of this processing rotten, and to the other supporters here as well too. Nan, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
It's been a great conversation as always, gentlemen. And to just to JFK's point, thank you for the compliment, but also thank you to JFK and James and Kevin for continuing to bring attention to Francis Gigliotti's matter. Sometimes you guys air later than my bedtime, but I always catch you most definitely on the replay. And this is an important issue that I know I've discussed with Brian and with Todd, and everybody should be keeping attention on him. He needs justice as well. Again, thanks to JFK. Go over to subscribe to them. Check them out because they're doing good things over there. And, I appreciate the support. All right. I'm going to let Todd and Nan go. I'm going to shut the show down here. Again, thank you very much, the both of you. I appreciate spending this 2 hours with you. A little bit longer than we normally go, but things had to be addressed tonight. And I had a lot of fun being on this panel with both of you. It's been great being here, Todd. I love you, my friend. And I guess I'll see you next week.
I love you back. We'll see you soon.
All right. See you guys soon. Goodbye. Have a good night. All right. We're gonna wrap up the show. Thank you all so much for being here this evening. And I appreciate all the support, all the cash apps that came over, the super chats. Again, I think there's something going on with the super chats in StreamYard. That's why I couldn't see them, and you could clearly see when I pulled JFK's up. So Thank you all so much. Go over and subscribe to all the channels that I mentioned tonight. Show support and love to all of them. Again, the videos that I played, you can find them all on their respective channels. I want to thank everybody for letting me use their content to kind of put this presentation together tonight. I appreciate it. LTL Media is strong. We're going to keep pushing on, and I appreciate all the support, the love and support. Hey, we'll be back soon. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Have a good night. Peace.